Thank you for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I am music producer Achickwitbeatz.
Entrepreneur Breezy Gipson.
And we're glad that you're with us, rocking with us. We got another dope show lined up for you today, filled with music industry news, whole bunch of good little tidbits and whatnot, and of course, beats by yours truly sprinkled in throughout.
Okay.
All right, so without any further ado, we'll just go ahead and dive right on in. How about that?
That's right. Sprinkle it on up. Sprinkle it on up.
Let's go. right, and we're back with music industry news. First off, YouTube has launched a hub that's aimed at designed to help songwriters and producers grow a fan base. So users can now browse tailor-made resources that just kind of give you information as to how to create a visual discography, how to promote your latest work on YouTube, and also how to navigate YouTube Shorts. So if that's something that you're interested in, something that you could use a little help in that area, now they have that available for you to take advantage of. How cool is that?
Oh man, that's really cool. That's really cool. Right on.
All right. And they've also, YouTube Music has recommendations that can now appear in Android 12's quick settings. So right there from your lock screen, the recommendations will automatically pop up whenever headphones, speakers, or other listening devices are connected over Bluetooth. What does this mean? It's a great thing for artists, because if you're one of those recommendations, people can get to you a lot quicker and right away. So it's really cool that they're doing that, and hopefully that'll come to iOS at some point. But yeah, kudos to them for doing that for Android users.
Yeah, well, the beat moves on. The beat moves on. All kinds of technology moving and shaking. So hey, it's another chapter.
Yes. All right, and the U.S. Copyright Small Claims Court has now opened. Man, this is one of those things. It's part good, part bad. We'll see how it actually turns out. But Congress has finally passed a law to create one that, so it's no debate, no hearings or anything. They kind of snuck it into a must-pass funding bill at the end of 2020. And so it's taken a long time for it to get ready, but it's finally launched at the ccb.gov. And the way it works is that the copyright registrant can bring a claim without having to wait to have the actual registration in their hand. So it's a little bit different from how things were before. But yeah, the court filings are a lot cheaper than if you do it federally. So it could be around $40 to $60. And small claims limits the damages up to $30,000 as a maximum, which is still pretty big if you're on the opposite side of that and have to pay it. So theoretically, it sounds like it could be a good thing because it makes it easier to file claims, but that's actually one reason why it may not be a good thing. So the potential problems that this can cause is that the low filing costs and simplified procedures can invite more claims that don't really have any merit, and defendants may have to accept low value settlements rather than fight it. Another problem is that plaintiffs can use their filing of the claim to scare defendants into accepting unwarranted settlements, just so that way they won't have to fight it. And then, dubious things can happen as far as unsophisticated plaintiffs just filing stuff left and right, which can lead to bogus default judgments if the defendants don't show up to fight it like they should. So I don't know. It's kind of a can of worms. There's a lot of industry speculation that this is going to cost more money to keep it going than it'll actually be worth. And some people are suspecting that it'll get shut down, but who knows? What are your thoughts about it?
Well, I see that S word, that speculation.
Yeah.
Once you say speculation, anything goes.
Yeah.
So whether it's up, down, sideways, or whatever. So they're in there speculating. So, hey, we might have to just sit back in the rocking chair and take a look at that. Watch, see what happens.
There you go. Yep.
Speculate.
Yep. And as always, we'll keep you posted as we get more information.
Yep.
Okay, and Erykah Badu is going to be executive producing the hip-hop documentary on the DOC. And so it's going to show what he's been doing since the infamous car accident that caused him to lose his voice. And so, of course, if you're not familiar with the DOC, real name Tracy Curry, he's written for NWA and Dr. Dre. He co-founded Death Row Records, mentored Snoop Dogg. I mean, his resume is extensive. And so it's pretty cool that Erykah Badu is actually going to be executive producing it because, they share a child together, their daughter Puma, I believe. And yeah, she also made a statement about it. So she said, it's no secret that DOC and I have created a work of art together in the past, and I'm excited to continue our relationship professionally. And so she says that they've been friends for over 30 years. And so she's glad to kind of bring his story to the rest of the world.
Well, you know, these days, documentaries, man, they are really like ripping it up because that provides education, awareness in so many different ways. And so for them to collaborate and get this thing going like that, you know, I think it's a thumbs up. I really feel like it's a thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
Agreed, for sure. All right. And Connect Music Group has established a $10 million credit facility to help independent artists build their revenue, and guess what? Still keep the ownership of their music. How cool is that? You don't really hear that too often these days, but you know, there are more and more things like this starting to happen, which I think is a beautiful thing. This partnership in particular is supposed to leave a great impact on the Memphis music scene. And so it's a Black-owned music monetization platform that provides distribution, publishing, administration services, among other things. And so their whole goal is to help Black creators that are disproportionately affected by the downfalls of the industry by helping them keep the ownership of their music and become profitable during today's streaming era. So good stuff, right?
Very good stuff. Very good stuff. The business never stops. Keeps flowing. So yeah, very good. Very good.
Yeah. All right. And there was recently a panel of notable women in music that were discussing unsafe situations and sexism in the music business. And so, you know, one of the things that they stated, like, as challenging as it is in the music industry for men, it's twice as rough for women. And She Is the Music is an organization who started because their goal was for equality, inclusivity, and opportunities for women in music. And so, you know, earlier in the afternoon during the panel, the National Music Publishers Association president, David Israelite, announced a program in partnership with She Is the Music called She Is the Songwriter. And so they're going to fund it with $100,000, and that'll help young women in songwriting to find mentorship. They can network with different opportunities and be able to develop from other women. And so they're also thinking about introducing female-only writing camps to kind of nurture that environment. And I think that's a really, really good thing. Yeah, there's a lot of sexism going on in the music industry. It's reflective of what happens in society, but you know, for them to acknowledge it and actually take steps to try to eliminate it, I think is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, female-only writing camps, man, that's strong right there. You know, and so there are so many young ladies that are looking at the successful artists, you know, and they're creating their own things, and they don't. When I say things, they're creating their own sounds, their own lyrics, and so forth, beats even, and more. And the door has not been open for them to go any further. You know, so you never know, you know, just what creativity they have in their own home or in their own room, even, or in their own notebook. You know, for some of the young ladies, so to have an event like this, you know, for the young ladies, oh, that's one.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely needed. And so, you know, kudos to them for making big strides, and to all the women out there in the industry, hang in there. It's tough, but you know, there are lots of resources for us to try to navigate around this and still be able to showcase our greatness, because we have what it takes. You know, gender doesn't stop anything.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a quick pause for the cause, and then we'll be back with more music industry news right after this.
Okay.
Okay, and we're back with round two of music industry news. It's incredibly unfortunate that this happened, but we have to share this because it is music industry news and there's something that can kind of be learned from it as well. But gunfire at a recent free DC music festival, Mochella, had led to a 15-year-old being killed and 3 adults, including a police officer, being shot. So this event actually took place last weekend on Juneteenth, and several other attendees were injured after being trampled while people were fleeing the scene. So it was noted by the police and the mayor that the festival was unauthorized, and so they intend to hold the organizers responsible for hosting the event without a permit. So one thing that can be taken away from this, there's been so much violence going on just in the music industry. There's been so many rappers that have been slain. If you're a part of this gun violence stuff that's going on, number one, please stop. People have the right to be able to enjoy music, and whatever beef and stuff you got going, you can just set that to the side. It's not necessary. Number two, if you're going to be organizing these festivals and events, so this was, basically like a block party, a street party, street festival, but make sure that you have the proper permits, because now if they go after the organizers who were responsible for this, if they didn't have the permits, you can pretty much be sure that they probably don't have the insurance to cover what may be coming their way. So, it's an unfortunate event, and hopefully something like this won't happen again in the future.
Yeah, very unfortunate. And but get yourself legit. Those who are circulating in the promoting realm and so on and so forth, or want to be promoting a realm especially, get your stuff legit. Might as well go ahead. That helps with your whole business flow if you get yourself legit. So these little jump off events and so forth, you're you're heading for trouble. You're bringing your own self into the trouble realm. You don't want that.
Yeah,
because that can bring a person to financial disaster.
Absolutely.
By not being legit. Okay, so and you don't want that, because you're talking lifetime effects of a financial crisis because you didn't take the proper steps to get legitimized with an event that you were planning. Yeah, so step right.
Right, because, especially for something that's supposed to be festive during Juneteenth, you probably didn't see this coming. And so, there's unexpected things that can happen all the time. So, yeah, exactly what Breezy said. Make sure that you get your ducks in a row first and follow the proper protocol.
Yeah, and just think, because there's a lot of folks out there that actually do not think. And so, get buffed up so you can represent the right way.
Yes. All right. And Mia McNeil has been named the Country Music Association's Senior Director of Industry Relations and Inclusion. And so this is awesome, to have a woman of color in this position. She brings more than 20 years of experience in leading inclusion-related initiatives. So she's going to be responsible for guiding the organization's diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies, and set up other initiatives for the staff, members, and industry partners, liaising with the industry. And so, we know that country music has had its struggles with inclusivity. And so, they're taking the right steps and making strides to try to correct that. Even recently with banning the Confederate flag. So, yeah, they're taking steps. It's been a long time coming, but hey, they're headed in the right direction, and that's a great thing.
That's right. I agree totally.
All right. And Tencent Music Entertainment Group renews their strategic partnership with Time Finjun Entertainment. And so now that they've renewed this partnership, the Tencent Music Entertainment Group users, so, their largest streaming platform in China. And so now they get to have music from TF Entertainment's artists 30 days before all the other platforms in China. So, that's a big deal. It kind of gives them a competitive edge. And it's always interesting to see partnerships like that and how that's going to pan out later. We know that they've had some issues in the past. We've actually talked about it on the show where they said maybe it wasn't really a competitive, well, their competitive advantage might be unfair to some of the other streaming platforms. So we'll kind of see what happens with this. But hey, that definitely gives them an edge. And once again, anytime we mention this, it just kind of shows you if you're listening and you're like, what the heck is 10 Cent Music Entertainment? If you don't know, that's another reason why you need to make sure that your distributor can get you to more platforms other than just Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal. There's a lot more out there, and it's important that you're everywhere that you possibly can be.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. So for those out there listening, better be a sponge and absorb this kind of info, because ultimately it'll get you in the right driver's seat to some opportunities that are out there.
Yes. All right, and Mass Appeal and Live Nation Urban have partnered up to celebrate Hip Hop 50 with what they're calling one-of-a-kind experiences. So this summer, Mass Appeal and Live Nation Urban are going to host hip-hop-centric park jams and festivals and other events nationwide, followed by programs set up to honor Hip Hop History Month in November. So it'll be exciting to kind of see what's going to go forward with that. Make sure that you're checking out the hashtag Hip Hop 50 to see where they might be that's close to you. So, it's been a lot of build up, to this 50th birthday of hip hop, which will be next year. But I'm excited to see all the stuff that they've been producing so far, especially their partnership with Showtime and the documentaries that have been out. So yeah, make sure you check that out. Every single one has just been phenomenal and just full of information. But now you've got chances to take part in the culture live. So always a dope thing. I've got huge love in my heart for hip hop.
Take part of the culture. Take part of the culture. If you don't know about it, learn about it. No better place to learn about it than right here.
Yes.
There you go.
The Hollywood Walk of Fame class of 2023 has been released. Honorees include Sheila E., Lenny Kravitz, Charlie Wilson, Ludacris, Melba Moore, and more. So kudos to all of them for getting that star. It's always great to see legends honored who've worked so hard and have done so much for music culture. So this is a great thing. And excited to see that take place.
Oh yeah. Stuff happening. I mean, see, you got a complete potpourri of things to choose from, of opportunities to choose from, of projects to choose from. And so this isn't just lame game. Okay. So the music industry, the technology industry, they've fused the business industry, they're all in one big melting pot. And so this potpourri right here, you got to, look at it, absorb it, because there could be some doors that are open for you, the musician, the artist, the writer, songwriter, the singer, vocalist, whatever, the musician, and or the producers, whatever. And so just take advantage of it. Okay, don't just, hey, thinking about it, it'll pass you by. Just sitting there not doing anything, guess what? There you go.
You're right. Yes, exactly. Okay, New York-based Reservoir Media has generated $107.8 million in its first year as a public company, and it spent over $224 million across 110 deals. Whoa. That's a lot going on. We've been sharing a lot of the different stories with the things that they've acquired and kind of come into. So one of the big ones that you may remember us discussing on the show, 87% of those deals were catalog acquisitions, and 100 million of that was the company's purchase of Tommy Boy Records last June. So the Reservoir founder and CEO, who is female, yay, women. She says that the company has a robust pipeline of potential deals and expects to spend over 100 million in new capital for the fiscal 2023. So upcoming, they still got a lot more, and they're intending to broaden and diversify their portfolio. So she said that they're paced for growth throughout the turbulent times due to their recession resistant business model. And, in quote, she says, the resilience is partly due to the fact that music remains one of the most under monetized forms of entertainment. Whoa, what do you think about that?
It remains and will continue to be one of the most important forms. So, I don't see that vanishing anytime soon, not in this lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with that being said, like Breezy said, absorb it. It's under monetized, which means that there's ways out there to be able to get paid for it that we haven't even thought of yet. And so, who knows? That could be you that comes up with that big idea. So yeah, do whatever you got to do to get those wheels churning and make sure that you're earning from your music.
Yeah, keep the wheels turning to make sure you're earning. Hey, see, you're a lyricist in your own right. So
Thank you.
But don't let this industry, these industries that are put in a big pot all together, they're being stirred up by a big spoon, and so there's plenty of opportunity. So don't let these opportunities pass you by, okay? Because if you don't do it, guess what? Somebody else will. That might be your buddy, or whomever, and they got it, and you sat and you didn't act on it.
Yeah, and that's a bad feeling when you're like, man, I had that idea, and you see somebody execute it before you do. So
and when action does not always mean money. Okay?
Right.
Action is action. We're not talking about you have to go dig in your deep pocket and all this, or go somewhere and try to get a loan and do something and all this kind of stuff. We're just talking about absorb the moment, absorb the opportunity, and take action with it. You never know who can come out of the woodworks and back you.
Right.
You never know who can come out the woodworks and just financial support or moral support or an audience that can be just given to you just because you took action. And
there you go.
But don't let it pass you by, because then I wish, I wish I had.
Yes, exactly.
That's right.
Very well said.
I wish I had. I wish I had. No.
Yes. All right. That brings us to our last news story for this week. The artist known as Her is suing her record label to be freed from her recording contract. So, a lot of times when we talk about this, it's like, oh, well, you shouldn't have signed it. You should have did X, Y, and Z, or you should have had somebody look at it, yada, yada, yada. In this particular instance, I'm 100% on her side, and I can't see how she wouldn't be victorious in this suit. But so she filed a lawsuit against MBK Entertainment for violating the California Labor Code, which is known as the 7-year rule, affectionately. And so we've talked about this on the show, where people wanted this so that way they can get out of long-term contracts in California. So the code prohibits that beyond 7 years of a contract of rendering services of a special, unique, extraordinary, or intellectual character, which is exactly what she does. So she's been signed to MBK since 2011, and she says that her contract should have ended in 2019. But get this, she was only 14 when she signed the deal. And so she wants the contract to be made unenforceable, and rightfully so. There's no way she should still have to be held for that. 14. That's just bizarre. So, hopefully things work in her favor. Like I said, it'd be hard to imagine it not working out that way, even though it shouldn't be. Well, it should be voided just on principle alone, but especially with this new code, hopefully things will go her way. But, once again, word to the wise, those contracts aren't really all they're cracked up to be. How many times have we shared this story? So if you're out there listening and thinking that you still need to sign a record deal in order to make it, you don't. A lot of your favorite artists are trying their best to get separated from them. So, hey, it's not necessarily the way to go, especially if you've already got the audience, you've already got the following. All they're doing is stepping in to take a portion of what you got going. So yeah, you get the money up front, but that's not a gift. That's something that you have to pay back. So hey, word to the wise, Indy's where it's at, and good luck to her on her journey.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of the three young, just as wonderful as could be, three young ladies that ended up in a contract, and which even to this day has been said is the worst music contract in all of history.
Mm-hmm.
But they did make several great songs. One of them was Waterfalls. I'm just giving you a clue. And they were taken advantage of. So by some people that they didn't think were taking advantage of them. And just be careful.
Yeah.
Dot the I's and cross.
Yep. And hey, you know what? If you need something looked at, you need some consultation, make sure that you reach out to Breezy, because he can actually help you with that.
Oh. Yeah, I sure can. And so just as the same, and if you've got a little conflict going with your beats or your construction of your song or this, that, the other, and whatever, reach out to Achickwitbeatz, because she can help you with that, plus much, much more as well.
Yes. All right, we're going to take a quick pause for the cause, and then we'll be back with our guest for this week after this.
You're listening to the Music Marvels radio show with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson on Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio out of Denver, Colorado.
Great. Thank you so much for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. We're glad to announce that we have with us in the virtual building Eternal Might. How you feeling, guys?
Good.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So if you could give the listeners a little bit of background on who you are, and for our faithful listeners, they might recognize both of you individually, because we've had both of you on the show before, but just not together as Eternal Might.
Yes. You want to go first, Dynamite?
I'll go first. That's fine. I'm Dynamite, and I was on before. I think it was last year sometime, and I've actually since then added on Dynamite, the producer, so I can stand out beside, because there's a few other Dynamites out there, and I want to make sure that they know who it is. But I'm the producer and been producing for this gentleman that's about to come on now for years, and we just came together as Eternal Might so that everybody know what's going on. So there you go.
Yeah. I go by the name of J. Irv, formerly of James Eternal, and like Dynamite, the producers he just expressed, we've been working together for a number of years, and we decided to actually we were working together a number of years, and we hadn't named our collaboration. So within the last 2 years, we kind of revamped and call ourselves Eternal Might now. So again, formerly I was James Eternal, so the Eternal comes from that, and obviously the Might comes from Dynamite. So there you are.
Dope stuff. When you say Breezy?
Well, wait a minute. Dynamite. Let's see. Oh, that Dynamite. They call me Dynamite. They say I'm out of sight on my guitar. Yeah. Is that the one?
Not that one. No.
Oh.
Purpose between. That's why I have the producer on there.
I'm just playing around. I'm just playing around.
Oh man. He got jokes. He really got jokes today.
That group, that sliding the Family Stone. Now they had a guitar player named Dynamite, you know. So, but that was back in the
Yes, I do remember that.
You good?
Okay, okay. So you guys are on the move. Got some stuff going on.
Yes. Actually, Saturday we have an album coming out.
Oh.
Oh, you mean today? Yes.
Well, yeah. Today.
Today.
Well, hey, we got to know. Hey, we got to know about
Thanks
this.
for that correction.
Yeah.
You got to school us about this album. You got to school us. Go ahead. School us.
You want to go first?
Sure. I'll do my part on this. So the album is called The Eternal Might Experience, and we've been working on it for the better part of, I'd say, 2 years. We put a mixtape out in 2019. And it got some real traction with a lot of folks. But this one is going to be much more well promoted, much more well. It's, I would say it's more well rounded. It's total 12 tracks, and basically the experience is we want the listener to just it's almost like we want the listener to experience something different than what's out there right now. And so that's why we came up with the name The Experience. And it's a lot of boom bap. There's some house. There's some jazz. So it's something on there for everybody.
So when you say well-rounded, you mean it then, huh?
Yes. So we did that on purpose because, again, we both dabble with all these sounds. We're both into soul. We're both into R&B. We're both into different decades of music. I mean, if you look at my playlist right now, I'm doing nothing but funk. It's like, and so that's kind of been a heavy influence for me and Dynamite. And so it's something up for everybody on there to check it out.
Yeah.
Dynamite want to add something to that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, of course I do. The whole vibe of it was for us to actually bring to the table what we've been doing from day one to this point. We just had to update the formula of what we've done since 91 up to now. And that's how long we've been working together. So it's second nature. Like, it's almost like I have a thought and he finishes the thought and vice versa. And so, yes, we had to bring it all. We're into music, period. Although the underlying root of it is hip hop, we have it all that we bring to the table. And we wanted to make sure that we had the lyricism with it. We want to make sure that we had actual, not just a beat, actual music. And the experience part for me, the way I look at it is you can hear something, you can see something, but until you experience it, you don't really get involved with it. It's not intimate until then. So that's why we wanted to experience.
So that sounds, this is something that just didn't start 6, 7, 8 months ago. We're going back to 91 and so forth. So there's a distinct blend that's going on between the two of you with the music vibes and the because at the beginning when you spoke about the different genres that are on this upcoming release, you just put all the great ingredients into a big pot, got a big spoon, and you stirred it up with some of that, like some of that good music gumbo.
Yeah, what we do.
That was definitely the intent.
Okay.
It was definitely the intent. And I wanted just one more thing about what Dynamite got done saying. Like, if you look at it, it is probably it's probably a collection of the best of everything we've done, and we've kind of perfected I want to say a formula, but when he sends a track that I'm into, I know exactly what to do with it. And that comes from from working with somebody for so long. But he sends the track, it's like, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm digging that. So after that, to me, the writing part is the easy part. So, I mean, that it's just gotten to that point. So I think this is a collection of like the best of, but we put it on one project.
Okay. Yeah, that's what's up. So, you had already mentioned, it being called the experience, about how people have the experience, but what's the main takeaway? If there's one thing that the listeners get from listening to the album, what is it that you want them to have?
Well, for me, I want them to understand that we're sharing us with them. We're giving them the option in a different angle from what's out there. And we're doing what artists are supposed to do anyway, give you them. So we're actually showing you where we are now. And we're actually enjoying ourselves doing it.
Okay.
Yeah,
how about you?
I'd say that sums it up.
Yeah.
I'd say that sums it up. I would say, yeah, this is giving people an idea of who we are. I think we were able to capture that collaboratively also, but also you see the individual element. The song, for instance, the song "We Came," it has a really nice house flavor to it. It was just, it was a house track that Dynamite had, and he's had it for a while, and then he shared it with a group of some of our people that we collaborate, and I was like quick to jump on it and make it one of our songs, because that house gives you a feel of where he is, and then I just kind of laid what I thought what I could do with the track. So it's individually, people get to see our taste, and also they get to see our personalities through the music, and I think that's what we wanted to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me throw this in there from the educational side, because we have a lot of folks that are listeners that are seeking to put their foot into the music industry, or maybe they already put their big toe in there and are just starting out. Okay, so what would you say to educate them about the progression from 1991, when you guys were collaborating back then, all the way up to now, as far as what does it take to blend? What does it take to give and take? What does it take to have something, a flow going, where it manifests now in 2022, where, as you said, years back, one of you could start a sentence and the other finish it, or one of you could come up with a flow and the other knows what direction it's going into. So for the young folks, what kind of advice would you give them as far as hanging in there to develop their own style?
Okay, which one want to go first? I mean, I can go first.
I'll do it.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. I was about to say is, first things first, a lot of people are afraid to be themselves, and they're afraid to actually open up and let people know what's going on with them or try something new. Everybody wants to blend in. And thing you need to do is just don't be afraid of trying something new or trying something different or experiment with something. I mean, you don't have to sound like the other people. In fact, you're not supposed to sound like everybody else. You're supposed to sound like you. So first and foremost, no matter what you learn, you can get inspired by someone, but you're not supposed to imitate them. You're not supposed to try to be them. You're supposed to actually learn and then add it to what you do. So
Okay.
And I would say, from what I got from the question, I think it was kind of two-part. Basically, like, not only what does it take, and what advice would you give somebody like jumping into this, but also I kind of took it as also you can also have, like, after all this time, still have the chemistry with somebody else. So I guess I'll answer it in that way. I think before anybody nowadays even looks to record anything, they should get out the paperwork and copyright all your music and do the right thing business wise. I don't even think you should even think to put anything out before you do that. I mean, you can record, you can do, but I think what we've learned is to be more astute with our business, and I really, I stress that really a lot of times over the music, because I just think that we did it too back in the day. We put music out, we were so in a hurry to put it out or whatever, but we didn't actually protect ourselves like we should have. So I think that's an important tenet that a lot of artists, young artists who've already got it. Matter of fact, this is not a little bit off topic, but it's on topic. I just spoke to an artist who's been doing this for about 20 years, and he didn't really even know what DMI, ASCAP, and CSAC was.
Wow.
So, you know what I'm saying? So to me, you just need to start from the basics before you think of even putting anything out. You got to protect your music. But to answer the second part of that, as far as us together, I think we started out. It was like almost like dumb luck that we even got together, right? If you know the story. But also we talk about the story on the record, on the project. So that's something else that a lot of people will be kind of filled in on. But I think we worked together for a long time, but then sometimes you have to take breaks. And we took breaks from each other, put out individual stuff, came back together. So, I mean, the chemistry right now is running really well because, we both matured as artists, and, we were always friends first, and then, we were always kind of into the same music. So even though you take those breaks, we came back and we thought to ourselves, what a better time to work together now, because we're both matured as artists, and we still feel like we have something to contribute to the culture. And so that helped the chemistry, that helped the chemistry a lot.
We'll see that input like that from both of you has really helped. We have a lot of young listeners, who are just starting out or who have just started out, and that kind of info really helps them in many, many ways, so I, my hat's off to you for sharing that info. And so not only that, we got this upcoming album, this upcoming music release that we're looking forward to. So let's each one of you, one at a time, give a final thought on what you're looking for, the work that you've done with it. And then so we can, the clock is staring us on the wall. And so we're going to have to close out. So share that aspect with us before we close out.
Okay. I'll say this. I want people to take away from it that you can't be yourself and you can't be yourself and do this music at a high level. And also, what I've learned through this process, and I think a lot of other people could kind of learn from, is just letting the music marinate, just letting it, if we put it out a year ago, it wouldn't have been ready. We put it out after 6 months, it wouldn't have been ready. And I've learned a lot of patience with this project and other stuff, because you have to perfect, it takes a while to perfect the sound, and it takes a while to, you just can't rush. We can't rush good music. And so I would like people to take away that, hey, here's two guys who didn't have that major label push or whatever. We doing everything independently. As artists, we're doing our own everything. Everything is us. And so you could do it that way without having to run to a label. And also you can have a message in the music without being overbearing. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Go right ahead.
I fully agree with what he's saying with that. And a few things I would add. First, it is important to make sure that you understand the craft of what you're doing. And since you want to actually put it out, you have to understand that there's a business sense to it also. But you should not let the business part of it control your artistic part. If it does that, then you're taking away from what you can really bring to the table. You have to have it like you bring what you want to the table and try to get and study it all the time. You're never going to be done studying and understanding what's going on artfully or business wise. You got to keep at it on both sides of it. But you got to find the fun part into it, because if you're not having fun with it, it's going to be more work than anything. I learned that with the business end of it as far as the paperwork. We had to look at it as the accomplishment part of it made it more fun. You know, it's not all business and it's not all fun. You got to balance things out. You got to also give yourself room to actually be able to learn and grow. And there's no real actual, when I said formula earlier, some people will get it mixed up with, we sit down and say we're going to follow this path all the time. The formula I'm talking about is he and I getting together and making some dope music. That's the formula. There's no one way of doing it. So you shouldn't get stuck in the way of doing it. Sometimes you got to do it a different way totally, a different approach. And just remember though, throughout the whole thing, never let it get to the point where you become robotic with it and don't enjoy what you're doing. If you do that, then you shouldn't be doing it. But that's just
Gotcha. Well, those are some fine, strong words of wisdom from both of you. As I have alluded to, we got a lot of young people that are listening, and they are looking to do some things, as well as some people who are midstream and others who are also already professionals. So we appreciate you sharing those words of wisdom. But before we close out, go ahead one more time and give us and our listeners the name of the project and where it can be found and purchased.
All right, Dynamite, it's on you.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. The name of it is The Eternal Mind Experience. You can find it, first and foremost, advanced copies can be found at bandcamp.com on The Eternal Might. And you're also going to have it on all the major platforms online. So they'll be available. Like you can get an advanced copy as far as like you can actually purchase it now, but you won't get it until Saturday if you do it that way. Bandcamp, you can get it today.
Gotcha.
Right,
Okay.
so let me give them the address again, real quick. It's going to be eternalmight1.bandcamp.com.
Yes.
One more time.
eternalmight1.bandcamp.com.
Okay.
Just like it sounds.
Well, look, we really appreciate you guys taking your time to educate the masses, and like you have. And so, we want to say thanks to you both for doing that and sharing the history together of what you've been doing, working on, and blending and creating and being businessmen. ... So we're looking for some great things from your sounds and looking for some great things from the both of you coming up in the future. And so we're going to go ahead and close out. And so any last greetings, Achickwitbeatz, before we do that?
Not much. Just want to thank you guys for coming on and sharing, just like Breezy said, and to highlight some stuff that you pointed out about patience and chemistry. I mean, as long as you got those things in the business, you got gold. So yeah, kudos to what you guys are doing and what you have.
Thank you guys for having us. I mean, it's always a pleasure. You guys always ask insightful questions. You always, I think you guys are like one of the top supporters of this independent artists in general. I thank y'all for having your platform. And, again, it's great to have a platform that understands the culture. So thanks for having me.
No doubt. It's
Well,
great to have you back. Mm.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate that.
All right, that does it for this week's edition of Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. Once again, we thank you for joining us, for tuning in, for rocking with us, all your words of encouragement. We appreciate you sharing your time with us and even telling your friends about us.
Yeah, for real. Okay, and so a lot of times, stuff goes on in the hood, stuff goes on in the city, stuff goes on in the country. But, when you want to, make sure you get the right info. Okay. And it's good to hear. It's good to hear the word on the street, but it's also good to hear the word that has been verified. Okay. And so the info that Achickwitbeatz is bringing, believe it, has been verified for all of these different companies and music opportunities. So hey, keep it here, keep it.
Yes. All right. And a huge thank you to our home stations, Grander Radio based in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio based in Denver, Colorado. And so yeah, you know where to find us next time, same place. Tune in, tell a friend, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.